I know choosing a breast pump can feel so overwhelming. There are so many options out there and available, and it's hard to know which one is going to work well for you, what the differences between them all are, which ones are high quality, and which one you should get. Let's talk about how to narrow it down. I'm going to give you a step-by-step process on how to do this. I'll also put a free download down in the description for you if you want to download the steps. There'll be links that we talk about as well down there too. So aside from this video, we have 4 other resources that can help you choose a breast pump as well. So before we dive into those step-by-steps, I just want to let you know what those are. 1, we have a Facebook group, which is specifically for breast pump reviews. Since that's a lot of what we do here at New Little Life, we have a whole group dedicated all to that. And so come in and join that. It's a really fun place to be. If you want to look at specific brands in helping choose a breast pump, especially if you are a working mom, that's who we primarily serve in our coaching program. There's a webinar down below, the best breast pumps for working moms. And I'll actually dive into a few specific brands for you in that one, which is really fun. We also have a quiz you can take. It's like a free quiz. I'll even update it after this video to make sure all the pumps on there are current, and you can just kind of put in what you want, what you're looking for, and have it spit out some suggestions for you at the end. You can take it multiple times if you want, kind of see what it tells you. And then 4th, I also help clients inside of my coaching program choose breast pumps, and I can do this a little bit more one-on-one because you've invested to be there and we work together, so it's really easy for me to just help you make that decision really quickly and kind of hand you an answer. So there's some extra ways you can get help in choosing a breast pump. But let's dive into this, okay? Let's figure out, how do we choose a breast pump? Where do we even start? Okay, here's how I go about helping someone choose a breast pump. Number 1 is you need to assess your needs, okay? The first question I always ask is, how much will you be pumping? Because if you are pumping just kind of occasionally or randomly, you're going to be mostly breastfeeding, just need a pump for here and there, it doesn't really matter what pump you get. And you can kind of just stress less, pick one that you think looks good, that kind of fits some of the other areas we're going to talk about, and move on. If you're going to be pumping a lot or relying on a breast pump to manage your milk supply, it matters more, okay? If you plan to exclusively pump, the recommendation may be different from someone who plans to combo there. If you are going back to work and so you're going to be relying, half on baby, half on a pump, that matters, and it changes our recommendations, right? I'm not going to recommend a big solid pump that you have to plug in all the time if I know you have to go back to work in a busy office or seeing patients or something like that. Okay, so how much will you be pumping? That's the first question I always ask. And then I ask, what lifestyle barriers do you have? Will you be working outside the home? Will you be working inside the home? Will you be mostly with your baby? Are you going to be in a busy or a space restricted area or job? Do you have a toddler or other children? Do you travel often? All of these things kind of come into play when we're looking to choose a breast pump. And this will affect which kind of features and capabilities your breast pump needs to have. Okay, number 2 question I ask is, what's your budget? Because breast pumps range from $20 to $5,000. Really big range. Okay, so I ask, what's your budget? Don't forget to check with your insurance. At least here in the US, most insurance companies are covering a free or mostly free breast pump for mothers. So that is a great place to check. I know in other countries as well, sometimes they will reimburse for a breast pump or even a breast pump rental. So check with your insurance and see what's available to you. You can do that directly through your insurance, or you can utilize a DME company, which is a direct medical equipment company. There's a list of several that we like on our website. I think you can find that there, and that might help you just get started. Those companies can kind of be the middleman between you and your insurance, so they can check and see what your insurance covers and then deal with getting that covered. And then there's kind of the middleman between the two of you. Then they can also send you repeat supplies every month and just kind of process all of that paperwork for you. So using a DME can make it simpler for you. Okay, and then on the budget talk, do you only have the budget for one pump? Like, you're going to get this one and that's the only thing, you have no more money, you don't want to buy anything else ever. Again, that's going to change the type of pump that we get a little bit. But if you're like, yeah, I'm going to get one through my insurance, and then I also am probably going to get one out of pocket, now we get to play with which combination might work the best for you and your needs and things like that. So that's always something that I like to know too. So first, assess your needs, how much you're going to be pumping, what barriers are in place. And then 2, what's your budget? And then number 3, which is, do you have any previous pumping experience? So if you are an experienced pumper, or you've done this before, or you know what you're doing, we may get a little more creative in the kind of pump that we want, especially if you have other pumps already that are still working well. But if you've never pumped before, if you're a first-time mom, or if this is, the first time you're going back to work, or for whatever, your baby's in the NICU and you have to pump now, there's a lot of different reasons, then it's best to go with a really safe and reliable option. Something that's really standard, that's been on the market for a long time, that we know really works, and that has a lot of setting options, customization for you so you can figure out what works best for you and what doesn't. If you pick just a really simple, small pump and it's limited, then we may have to get a different pump later because it just can't do everything that we want to try out. Does that make sense? So again, if you're an experienced pumper, we can get a little more creative. Maybe we try something that's new on the market, but I never recommend new technology or a new to market pump for mothers that have never pumped before. Next, we'll cover what features are important to you. So whenever I ask this to a mom, I usually get a wide range of answers, and that's why I ask it. Sometimes I'll hear, it needs to be quiet. I want literally the quietest pump I can find ever because I'm going to be pumping while I see patients, or, I'm going to be doing this and that. It has to be quiet. Or maybe it has to be discreet. I need it to fit in my bra. I need no one to know that I'm doing anything. Or maybe it has to have a battery because you're going to be moving around. You like to travel, you have another child, or you're just an extrovert who likes to move and you just need a lot of movement. Maybe you want a lot of adjustability in settings because you've struggled with pumping in the past and you want to be able to play with that a little bit more. Maybe you're looking for some specific settings because you've done this before and you know what you like and what your body responds best to right now. Portability, efficiency, dual motor, suction strength, a good minimum suction because you're really sensitive. What kind of features in a breast pump are important to you and what are the deal breakers? If you're a first-time mom or if you've never pumped, you may not know, but I bet that you have a short list of things that you need based on your lifestyle and how you're going to be pumping and what you're going to be presented with. And then once we kind of know all of that, we can start looking at more specifically, what type of pump do you want? Okay. So a standard tabletop pump, these are a really nice, safe option. They vary quite a bit on quality. And a lot of times the ones that we see a lot of low-end insurances covering are not the highest quality. Sometimes you need a little upgrade to get a good pump. But every once in a while, some insurance companies will cover these $600 multi-user dual motor pumps, like the Unimom Opera is one that I see sometimes for free on insurance. And I'm like, wow, that's a deal. Probably do that. You know what I mean? And not that more expensive pumps are always better, but it's interesting. But a standard tabletop pump is a really good first pump for someone who's brand new, wants something reliable, and wants to kind of take their best bet. Small portable pumps can be really nice to pair with other pumps. So this is a great, secondary pump or something to have kind of on the side. There are a couple of pumps that I might recommend as, if you're not pumping exclusively, but you're going to be pumping a bit and you really want a portable pump. There's only a couple I can think of that I would feel comfortable recommending. Sometimes the portable pumps are just smaller and a little bit different. We talk about that more in our webinar too. And then there's wearable pumps, which I know are kind of all the rage at the moment, and they seem like an easy solution. Like we can pump hands-free and we can do all these other things while we're pumping. And, for a stay-at-home mom with a toddler and you are going to be doing a lot of stuff, but you're mostly with your baby, awesome. For a working mom, it can work, especially if we're only using that to manage our milk supply half the time, the other half the time as a baby, or maybe a different pump at home. We can make it work, but wearable pumps tend to be less efficient. They just are. And so we have to make sure that we are using it really intentionally. It requires a level of detail in utilizing a wearable pump and troubleshooting it that a lot of moms may not be willing to invest the time and brain space in. So we do use those. I use those quite a bit with my clients inside my program, but we are doing really in depth. They really understand pumping and their own milk supply and the choices that they're making. And they have a team of experts to help them too. So it's not, it tends to work a little bit better, I will say. But wearable pumps can be a great secondary pump, or at those times when you really, really need to do that. Wearable pumps are also, I say this in the webinar too, so you'll have to go check that out, are also really good if this is going to make or break your pumping experience. If you're like, if I don't have a wearable, I'm not going to pump, then maybe that's the best pump for you. You know what I mean? But just know that you may be sacrificing a little bit of milk supply there. And as long as you're okay with that trade-off, or if you want to find someone that can help you through that, then there's that. Again, more information in that webinar specifically. And there's also hospital pumps. So those really large, heavy-duty pumps that we see in the hospital, you can often, most people are not buying them, but you could rent one if you wanted. They're not, inherently magical. And if you're having pumping problems, I do see lactation consultants sometimes recommending, oh, we'll just get like a Medela Symphony or an Amita Platinum or something that'll fix all your problems. And it probably won't, but they're good for certain situations. So that's an option too. A couple of extra questions that we're not going to cover here, but are covered in the breast pump webinar down below is, can you use a portable pump as your only pump? What about battery versus rechargeable? What are the pros and cons there? And then more chat about wearable pump precautions and things like that. So I do want to share this really important thought with you as you're trying to choose a breast pump for yourself. I know you have to kind of choose it and then hope that it works. And that can be a really frustrating place. But remember this, okay? Your pumping success is much more dependent on your pumping practices than the specific breast pump that you choose. Okay. I know this probably feels like a huge decision, and that it feels like if you choose the wrong one, it's going to make or break your experience. And I have good and bad news here. The good news is this choice is likely not going to make or break you. Okay. Having a high quality pump and the right type of pump for you is one piece of the puzzle, but it's not the most important piece. Okay. So I hope that gives you a little piece as you're choosing this. The bad news is that there's a lot more to pumping than choosing a breast pump, okay? We have loads of videos on the YouTube channel here on all different kinds of aspects of pumping that will help you be successful. So if you're a working mom and you're looking for personalized guidance in pumping fast and efficiently while you transition back to work, there's a link below. You can learn more about our coaching program. You can come work with me directly and kind of just get these answers really quickly. If that's not you, or if you're not quite ready to jump into that, I would love to see you on our webinar, in our Facebook group, and share those results of your breast pump quiz for you. Let me know in a comment on this video what it said and what you think, and if that's going to work for you. Let me know how I can make this choice feel as good as possible and help you find the most efficient pump for you. Good luck and happy pumping.